Again to the another tutorial, and hope you're all doing well. And let's go to the topic of this tutorial. And in this tutorial I'm going to talk about how to add fragments statically, actually it's called statically, to an activity. So how do you add different fragments, multiple fragments in one activity? So I will actually show you how to add at least two fragments in one activity. So how can we do that statically? Okay, so it's the motivation of this tutorial. So we will be learning how to add almost two fragments to an activity with their own separate UI and their own functionality. So I will be creating two different fragments which will have their own life cycle, which will have their own functionality, which will have their own UI, and they will be independent with each other. But I will try to add these two fragments in one single activity. So how can we do that? Okay, so this is the motivation or the concept of the tutorial, but that we are gonna learn about. So without wasting any time, so let's go right to the code. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a static demo activity. Okay, and this static demo activity is pretty empty right for the moment, and I will be using two other fragments called fragment color and fragment counter. So these are the layouts. Okay, for counter, this is the layout for the counter, and the strings that I am using is this for the demo of fragment is this one. And okay, so let's jump to the tutorial, and let's me create a simple blank fragment called from the template called color fragment. Okay, uh, uh, fragment color. Okay, actually it's not letting me to create okay, no problem. What we will be doing is we will be creating it, and uh, okay, let me create the color fragment, and let me modify okay, and color fragment, I will be using the color fragment layout that I have created. And similarly I will also create another fragment called layout fragment. I mean, sorry, it's like counter fragment. Okay, the template will pretty much create everything for you, a layout and everything. But I have already created out my layout, so I will try to remove this layout. Okay, and I will try to use the layout that I have already created, as I showed you before. It's pretty simple layout, so I don't want to waste my time making the layout, right? Uh, okay, it will be okay. Let me remove also the context here for the moment. I don't need it. Counter. Okay, we're getting access to the okay, I don't need the context for the moment. Okay, so we have these two simple color fragment and counter fragment, right? And this is our activity where we have to like add these two fragments. So how can we add this statically? So aesthetically means like I'm gonna add this in the layout. Okay, so I have to add pretty much here like this fragment. Okay, so okay, so let me go to the main activity. I will I mean, sorry, the not the main activity, I'm like the static demo activity where I will be adding these fragments, right? So let me go to the static. uh, Here I have to add actually, I have to pretty much change my the first thing that I have to do is I have to change my constraint layout. Why I want to change my constraint layout? Because with uh, with it will be much better using the linear layout for simplicity, as you say you can easily add one fragment above the another. I mean one fragment, and like chronologically you can add one fragment and another fragment, so it's pretty simple, right? You don't need to manage all the constraints. So let's modify the constraint layout with the linear layout. Okay, it makes things much better. So based on the requirements we can change our view group. Okay, so it's not necessary that every time you need also a constraint layout with constraints. Sometimes also some layouts like linear layout can make things easier. Okay, and we add fragments statically. The first fragment that we want to add is a yes, let's add a counter fragment first. Okay, or we can also add a color fragment, so it's not a problem. um, uh, Let me add the color fragment. Sorry, I made a mistake. It's width I want, it's match parent, and I want the height, which pretty much adapts to the height, and I want the id. Obviously the id I want is the color fragment, and similarly what I want is also the name of this fragment uh, is will be a color fragment, right? And it's pretty much giving me this. Okay, because okay, let me add the orientation to vertical. uh, it's giving me this one because I okay, let me put it to wrap content for the moment. Okay, and okay, similarly we statically add also another fragment of our choice. Similarly I add also counter fragment, and it's called counter fragment, and that's it guys. So it will be pretty much okay, I'm not getting the view for the, I mean like the split view for the moment, because I have not built the application. So okay, so actually let me run the application and see what's happening actually. Okay, let me run the application guys without any I want to see how is what is happening. Okay, you see I have the yeah, so yeah, pretty much it's working fine. I have the hello Kotlin. This is like the upper part is the color fragment, as you can see here, and the lower part is a counter fragment. It's pretty much like this, right? And yes, I want to pretty much work on with the size. So how can I work on with the size is like I can pretty much use uh, the the width. So how can I use the width is like the I can pretty much uh, use the width in such a way that it's gonna occupy some space that I want, right? So what I want to do is I will be pretty much specifying the layout height, not to wrap content, or but I want to make it in certain size, like for example this fragment occupying certain space, like maybe 25% of the space, and like counter this fragment occupying I want maybe 75% of the space, right? So if I want that, I can do it in such a way that I can specify the weight actually. So what I can do is I can specify the weight to 1, and I want to specify the weight to 3. So it is pretty much I have to do it pass 0 dp and 0 dp. Let me apply. So the counter will be occupying, yeah, you see 75% of the area, and like this is occupying just 25% of the area. But if I want both of them occupying 50 and 50, I just put 2 2, or maybe also 1 and 1. So you see it's occupying just pretty much like 50 50. And actually I want this occupying more space, just to check. Okay, you see it's pretty much not looking good. So I want to this to occupy more space. uh, yeah, so you can pretty much work on with you can just pretty much yeah, work on the basis of what um, is better for you. Okay, so this is what you can define. So this is like specifying the portion of the height that each fragment should occupy. Okay, so the linear layout orientation is like, as you can see, it's set to vertical. uh, Also you can set it to like horizontal, but if you set it horizontal, the fragment will be added one and then another one, so it will be not looking pretty fine, right? So vertical is the better choice. And yes, I think we are pretty okay with the situation, but now we have to just handle the functionality, as I also uh, explained you in the before. So each fragments can independently handle their functionalities and UI, and you can statically add it into the activity, right? So let me go to the color fragment. For the moment nothing is happening here, but I want to set the buttons and perform some kind of a view setup, right? So what I will be doing is like uh, I will have to overwrite on a view created. As I told you that the fragment here at this stage, fragment is completely created, and you can set up your UI here, okay, in this stage. So on view created, you can pretty much work on with your uh, oh, with your UI setup. So I will be doing that now. Sorry guys, is okay. And okay, we have how many buttons we have? Like we have three buttons and one is a text view, right? Step view. So let me text view, and the name of the text view is hello. Okay, it's a blue button and green button, green and blue, right? For simplicity, and pretty much similarly we can just red button, set on click listener, right? And just set the text view to color red, and same goes to the other buttons, right? Red, it's not red, it's green button, and it's blue button, blue and green, guys. Okay, so yeah, pretty this is okay. So let me apply this. Okay, let me restart the application. What's it saying? It's because of the green button. Why green button? Oh, okay, yeah, there's a problem with the green button here. Okay, let me do it again. now, yeah, red, green, blue, it's pretty working fine, right? Without any affecting any without affecting the green, like another fragment which is a counter fragment. We are pretty much independently able to implement this functionality of the color fragment. So this was the motivation of this tutorial. Not only this, we can also pretty much perform the counter. Let's also do the similar on view. Same, we always update the we always update the view, the fragment on this callback call on view created, because the fragment is already created here, right? So yeah, similarly we will be doing that. And let's implement this counter increment. So counter your counter, like your value will be uh, view find view by id. Okay, it's like it's a text view, uh, text view, text view actually. So it's counter uh, actually value text view. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a find, it's like it's a button, right? uh, Actually, I need two buttons, which is pretty much plus button, and which is like a minus button, right? uh, it's plus and this is a minus. It's not a text view, it's a button, and it's a also a button because I'm trying to click this button. Okay, so how can I do that? Is plus button set on click listener, and pretty much I increment the counter, but I have to just declare the counter, right? So let me create a counter variable here, counter, which is initially 0, and pretty much counter will be incremented here, right? And you set the counter values here. Is a value text view text, set the counter string, right? And similarly you will do the minus button set on click listener. If you have increased the counter, if counter is greater than 0, then only you just remove the, like decrement the counter, right? And you just set the counter value to to string, right? Okay, let's implement this. Okay, not applied, so we have to restart it. And let me, yeah, independently you see the functionality is happening. Okay, like no more, it doesn't go back to after 0, it doesn't go. So yeah, guys, it's pretty working fine. And we have successfully added we have successfully added statically two fragments to our activity. And that was the motivation of this tutorial. And thank you very much. If you have any questions and doubts, please do write me the comment. And if you have any also suggestions, please do write me. If you like my tutorial, and if you want more tutorials to be coming, please do subscribe and click the bell icon. And thank you very much. Catch you in the next lecture.